let's talk about class. Let's talk about economic class. Because someone else I want to debate
work together
is NoCommentChick.
and try to be aware of what each other's going through and not get siloed into not perceiving maybe somebody else who might be.
Where does the cringe begin in this video?
W.B. Du Bois said that the labor movement should have been the natural ally of black people, but when racists in the movement tried to get higher wages by kicking out Chinese people and excluding black people, their movement fell apart. Yeah, absolutely. There was, if you look back far enough, you know, to the early progressive and workers' movements were inclusive. There was a slogan, "Black and white in the ditch unite," asking like for solidarity across those lines. That's a serious ask.
And that is the entire point of class consciousness and class politics, is overcoming all of those other barriers between people and uniting on a basis that is more common than race, more common than gender, more common than sexuality, and that obviously would be your fucking economic, material class position. And that realization that class is fundamental to all these other oppressions as well is not reductive. It's not reductionist. It's expansive, because it shows you that we are able to unite with people who we otherwise have differences with on a common basis that we share regardless of those differences. Somehow, this is one of those things that the not Marxist left in America has completely forgotten. They've completely forgotten that.
But that's what the slogan was, and then slowly, yeah, like you're saying, it became more about, yeah, well, you know what, groups can worry about their own shit, or, you know, really more of an antipathy and a hostility towards those. Like, I mean, and that's, you know, kind of the danger with any sort of populist movement, right? I mean, there is a form of populism that's like, let's take care of our
Why is she talking about populism?
own, right? You know, there's like, populism can definitely mask some really nasty tendencies. Class reductionists are not helpful. Yeah, and that's who I got called out by today. And we're just trying to see like where exactly.
I don't see how Peter. I don't understand the class reductionist thing. Like I don't understand how Peter Coffin is a class reductionist. They have cringe takes, but I don't understand how, because they've never said that class is the only thing that matters. Hold on, aren't you against deterministic Obviously. Yes, that doesn't mean. Yes, read beyond the first sentence. Oh my god.
Is the lie in what Irene said. Let's listen to it one more time. This is what I got clipped and shipped by Peter Coffin today, and this is somebody that like I don't know. This person has like is a little too into their hate following is a little too obsessive. Economic leftism with social conservatism. Okay, so this is what I said again. I think is a positive. I think it's a real danger, and it'll fracture, you know, people along the lines of where their priorities are, right?
But hold on though. The crucial thing about it is even conservative people and people with socially conservative sensibilities are in poverty and oppressed by capitalism. So what are you going to do? Just not help those people? Say that you're somehow too good for those people? Or are you going to show those people, like Haas from Infrared tries to do, by the way, and articulate Marxism or communism or socialism or what have you to those people in a way that shows them that it would be helpful for them as well. Like, it's not in this ideological way of combining combining social conservatism with economic leftism to make like a NazBol ideology. Because here's the thing. We were all in favor of Bernie Sanders and his agenda, right? All of these people. Haas, NoCommentChick, Vosh, ContraPoints, Michael Brooks, me, Peter Coffin, all these people. We were all Bernie people. We were all Bernie people. What was that vision? What was that agenda going to accomplish? What was our goal? Universal economic rights for everyone in the country, for all of the American people. Universal healthcare, universal education coverage, universal economic rights. For conservatives as well. For people who are neo-Nazis as well. It also applies to them. For people who are literally fucking white supremacists. They would also benefit from those things. But now that the Bernie movement is over, we're all splintered off into all these different sectarian groups, and we're all confused and arguing with each other and drawing lines in the sand and dispersed into splintered, broken. The left is broken, the left is confused, and the left lost. The left lost. We were defeated. And we don't know how to deal with that defeat. But one of the ways that people do it is by being more sectarian like this, and by being more confused about like what our political agenda and perspective and prescriptions actually are and were the whole time, that entire time with that. Because here's the thing about it. A lot of people have socially conservative views, okay? Does that mean that they shouldn't benefit from the social programs that we say that we think everyone should have? Does that mean that they should be deprived of the basic standard of living that we say we think should be provided for everybody? No, of course it fucking doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Of course not, right? So you have to think about it in that mature way of like meeting people where they actually are, as they actually exist, and holding your position regardless. Because we actually can't expect everyone to have all of the same social values and exist in the same culture. We can't, like, that is incredibly unrealistic, and like they like to say, all these people who consider themselves pragmatic, incredibly idealistic in that sense. So you actually have to be kind of resilient in the face of conservatism on a social level, because if we allow ourselves to become so splintered off like that and so niche, we will never gain the momentum and the movement and the sheer numbers, the sheer amount of people on our side to actually gain power, to actually take power and make big structural systemic changes. We won't. That's not how that works. That really is not how that works. And along the way, we can change those people's minds and whittle their conservatism down until they are more, at least moderate, and trending towards our side on those issues. But here's the thing. Economic issues, material issues, real things, real problems, not just different opinions about different groups of people and different identity conflicts, is more fundamental. It's more fundamental. It's more important. It literally just matters more. Because the thing about class is that when we talk about class and we talk about economic issues, we're talking about people's literal day-to-day lives, regardless of whether or not they're white or black or what have you, or trans or not, or transphobic or not, what have you. It applies to everyone. It literally applies to everybody. It applies to the entire working class. So we're talking about how people sustain their livelihoods, we're talking about how people reproduce their ways of life, and we're talking about how people feed themselves and their families. So it's not reductionist to realize that that is the thing that we all have in common. It's expansive. It expands the realm of discourse and the way you think about politics. It expands it. It's not a reduction. It's an expansion. Does that make sense? And that's the thing, because you know what's really what is really reductive and what's really reductionist and what actually constitutes a reduction is people who think that the world is just made up of people who are stuck into static identity categories, and it's just those people against each other. That is a reductionist view. The same people who levy the accusation of class reductionism should be faced with the accusation of identity reductionism, because that's basically all their politics amounts to. And the problem with that is obviously the fact that, well, there's a lot of problems with that you can go into, but one of the obvious ones is the fact that social change in an unchanged economic situation can only go so far. And the reason why that is because when we talk about racial oppression, for example, we're talking about the fact that in this country, we started with black people literally being owned as property. How is that not an economic issue? That's obviously a material economic issue. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when we talk about racial oppression, we're talking about black people being poor and being discriminated against by the government and the state apparatuses. We're not just talking about people who hold racist views, because the reason why those things happen, the reason why the disparities exist, the reason why structural racism exists is not because of ideas in people's minds. It's a material thing. It's a material relationship. It's when we say systemic rate, we're talking about the fact that it's literally built into the system. It's not about individuals' ideas. That's not how the world works if you're an actual communist. You understand that. But that's one of the things that this brand of leftism that you see before you, they completely remain ignorant of that fact. And it's the main problem with it is that it's a failure. It's a failed political project, and it won't go anywhere besides making people feel better on the internet. So that's where I stand on this. But I guess we can continue the video, even though I just talked for like a long time about it.
If they, whether they're more in tune to marginalized people's issues, or whether they're more
I mean, I can see
economic, issues kind of with a little bit of like neglect for marginalized groups, right? That's a choice that we shouldn't have to make, okay? And we don't want to get there. That's why we're going to be doing a NazBol Vortex.
The NazBol Vortex is bullshit too. Vosh and all these people, they don't understand what they're talking about when they talk. It's so cringe. It's horrible. It's horrifying that these are the popular leftists. And building on my earlier point about like materialism, structural racism doesn't exist because of racist ideas in people's minds. Racist ideas in people's minds only exist because structural racism does. If we lived in a different society, people wouldn't think that way. Because they only think that way to justify the current state of things. That's how the human mind works. You understand?
See, like, getting hung up on certain of my words, like when
and that's why I have always had a personal contempt for people who think that way, because I realize the fact that they're allowing their own minds to basically be controlled by the way that society is. They're not questioning it. They're not trying to think for themselves and unplug from it. They're just justifying it. They're just reifying it. They're just thinking like, if this is the way it is, then it must just be natural. It must just be the way it is. And that's the laziest thing you can do when you're thinking philosophically and politically. It's literally the laziest move you can make, is a naturalization. But that shit is popular too. That shit is popular too. Jordan Peterson, that's his entire thing. That's his entire worldview.
Groups from class issues, right? Because yeah, no, you're right. That's like, those are both, you know, forms of marginalization. There wasn't an implied separation there as much as it might have sounded, but like what I said is that it's false choice. I'm saying that, you know, we gotta encompass both, right? We've gotta encompass all the vectors.
These cuts are really weird.
All the
as well. Whoever edited this video is kind of not.
Sections, all the vectors of marginalization, including economic, right? It all kind of...
Yeah, but economic issues are not just another vector. It's not just another vector. It's the center of the entire fucking problems.
Weaves together, you know, like a quilt, right? And I think that any attempt to be like, yo, it's a quilt, sure, but this thread right here, that's the really important one. That's the crucial one. Class. That's the, you know, or like whatever.
It's not saying that, it's not privileging it over racism or sexism or anything and saying it's more important. Our position is that those things are based in it. They're inherently wrapped up in it. Because when you actually analyze the way that society is, that's just the truth you come to. That's the conclusion you come to. That's why there have always been people who have said that this type of politics, whatever you want, feminism, LGBTQ movement, anti-racism, there's always been people who say there should be a class movement first. Because it's just the truth. Like,
whatever you want to say, whatever you want to reduce it down to, whichever like vector you want to say is more important. I think that's always a mistake, you know, getting into comparison. There's no need to. It's just like,
it is a mistake to get into comparison because it's a stupid way of thinking about it in the first place.
Work together and try to be aware of what each other's going through and not get siloed into not perceiving maybe somebody else who might be struggling even more than you are under a fucked up system like this. So yeah, I thought what I said was pretty based. Then the next thing that Coffin says here, if you scroll up, is push to the margins with my degree and six-figure salary. Feel so excluded with my mortgage. Okay, so chat, like just so you know, okay, that's right. That's being ascribed to me, right? The six-figure salary. The six-figure salary, chat. The six.
I don't think NoCommentChick is making six figures. I just don't.
Figure salary. Am I getting a six-figure salary? Do I have a mortgage? Chat, I live in an efficiency. Like, right? I have like a room and like a share of a kitchen, like, right? This is kind of funny. This is kind of, I don't know what about me screams like six-figure salary. I don't know. Just like everybody that like disagrees with me as a PMC, everybody that disagrees with me as a lib, it's that kind of, it's fucking brain.
Somebody in chat says Marxism is cringe neoliberalism forever. Do you want to debate? Do you want to debate on it? You can get in my VC. You can join my Discord and get in VC. We can debate about that right now if you want. Anyways.
Brainworms. That's all I can say. It's fucking brainworms. Interesting to see who ends up on the NazBol Vortex segment. Oh, wow. Should I look into you?
You can debate me in 3.5 hours. I won't be streaming in 3.5 hours, but yeah, you missed your chance. It's now or never.
Should I look? Wait. Why? Like they're jockeying. They want me to examine their content and ask. They want to ask me, am I NazBol-y enough to make the cut? Am I NazBol-y enough for the Vortex? Wow. Chat, this is amazing. Wow, I mean, like, thank you for self-identifying right there. I do disagree with Peter Coffin, right? Like, there is a disagreement there. There's a disagreement between me and all of Peter Coffin's reply people, right? But does it not seem like the thing that, like, I'm literally reading here, separating economics from racial inequality is akin to affirming and reproducing the myth of their biological existence for
That guy is based. That guy knows what he's talking about. That's just the truth.
My god, is this person calling me a racist? Never mind, that's not based. Wait, what are they saying? Okay, affirming and
How does that not make sense to you?
reproducing the myth that of the biological existence of superior and inferior human races. And although they may think that that's a good sell to the center,
it's not about it being a good sell to the center. It's just the truth of the analysis. What?
To the people that don't want to admit that really that like oppression of people along racial lines still happens these days, they might want to kind of like, you know, they
what? Why would you even come to that conclusion based on that comment? What?
I think that's like, okay, so if we kind of de-emphasize that and we say, oh no, it's all about economics, right? Then
That isn't what he said, though.
We'll kind of take care of that anyway, somehow magically, you know. It's like oh my god, what is that thing from South Park? Do you know what I'm talking about?
These people are just making shit up, basically making shit up like that. What? That's not what he said at all.
The dwarfs. The dwarfs go in and they steal the underwear. And then they go like they're going to make profit, but they're not sure how. They're going to steal the underwear and they're...
Saying racial inequality is an economic thing in a primary way isn't saying that racial inequality doesn't exist. What the fuck? Like, it's such a straw man.
They're going to do, they don't know what, and it's going to be profit. You know what I'm talking about? That is this shit.
That is a stupid analogy, and these people, they just don't understand how to, like, interface with, like, real theory. Like, what?
That is this shit.
What?
It's like, end capitalism, bop, 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 racism solves itself. Like, what?
That's not at all his point. At all. No one thinks that. No one thinks end capitalism and then everything will be fixed. No one thinks that. No one said that once. What?
There's no planet. Place. It's just this like weird, like almost quasi-religious assertion. Getting rid of capitalism without getting rid of white supremacy. Yeah, I don't think it would.
She needs to stop saying that Marxism is a religious doctrine. That's the key reason why I need to debate her, because it's like you don't know what you're talking about. You're out of your depth. You're in the deep end. You don't have a fucking floaty. You need help.
Actually happen. I don't think it would materialize. Peter being a class reduction. Hey, Peter being NCC bad and a class reduction. Peter is an NCC hater.
Where's the reduction? There's no reductionism.
This happen, chat? How did Peter Coffin become an NCC hater? It's almost like being banned, being blocked by Peter Coffin, which now I have joined the club. I'm on a quasi right wing creator shitting on me kick, I guess. I really don't know what they mean by separating economic inequality from racial inequality. It's not like economic equality necessarily excludes racial inequality. Seems like a specific categorical subsection to the entire topic. Yo, I hope this isn't semantic, but I would be...
What the fuck does that even mean?
Be so surprised if it was. Like, every single time I try to pin down a Peter Coffin, like, reply person on one of these things, and you'll hear my voice going, like, full hog! Because apparently I did that, and I got clipped. But I also got clipped by Peter Coffin. No, I didn't get clipped by Peter Coffin. Why keep on saying that? It actually wasn't Peter Coffin. It was actually somebody a little closer to Haas. And that's what's weird, is that, like, I don't know how much Peter Coffin... Oh my god, people who say NazBol Vortex should be marginalized. Wait, this was clipped mid-sentence? Marginalized from what? They feel entitled for the fact that they think they're better than everyone else. That's right. That's what marginalized means. Socialism train. That you got it. You got it. You decoded it. What? Yo! The smegma male here. Wait, I don't understand.
Is
This
is the meat of the
also,
video
people
over?
This frustrates me about Twitter. Okay, people do not disambiguate. People do not say you, Peter.
There were a couple of specific points I wanted to go through, and then it was gonna be over.
Coffin are
We might already be there.
so dumb, or they do not say you, the girl in the clip, are so dumb. We kind of need to know who you mean. This is so dumb. So I don't know. You can still be targeted by the state and fellow citizens even if you're upper middle class. Wait, so are they agreeing with me? Does sad little kobold agree with me? When a bunch of white nationalists literally want to make an ethno-state, do you really... Maybe it's an anti-fan? Is it like a... But wait, if they're wait, okay, they're replying to Peter Coffin though, so they're not banned, they're not blocked.
Okay, yeah, I think this is... Was it earlier than where I stopped it, or what? I think there's more to debunk here or talk about.
Even without the economic
offer a counterpoint
system being capitalistic in nature, and that's...
Why is it buffering? I fucking hate that. It did not use to do that.
It's kind of what the deal is with Peter Coffin and people in that orbit, is that they don't seem to see this, right? They think that we can kind of hold everybody's issues.
Let's go back to the beginning. Maybe there's...
Wait, are there any dream characters in chat? I gotta ask. Any dream characters? It is a strange night. There might be dream characters. I might be asleep, chat. Any dream characters in chat tonight? I never did anything to Peter Coffin. I've triggered the the people they hang around with are toxic. Kind of like, I've just had Peter Coffin on mute, but apparently, even though Peter Coffin had preemptively blocked me, Peter Coffin did not have NoCommentChick on mute and became aware of NoCommentChick's commentary on class reductionism. They felt they needed to comment on. Let's see what they said. We'll take a little bit of a look down the actual NazBol Vortex as it exists today, just so I can look at the Twitter.
It doesn't exist. There's no NazBol Vortex.
I feel like Peter Coffin should have a middle initial. Chat, can anybody tell me, is there a middle initial associated with Peter Coffin? Am I missing a middle initial? Peter Coffin, is there a middle initial? I kind of want there to be a middle initial. It's sort of like not right if there's no middle initial. It's a name that like cries out for a middle initial. T Coffin. I would buy it. Peter T Coffin. I prefer musical comedies to drama. I would rather this be a musical comedy. I would much rather this. If this was a musical comedy, I'd be down. I feel like, okay, why do I like maybe Peter Coffin would come across better through musical comedy. I know that they love to do like those. Oh my god, chat, have you seen their Exiting the Vampire Castle video where they play like a Dracula kind of character? They play like a Dracula and they cam it up. Chat, it's so cringe. This is what I wonder.
Why is that cringe? If that's cringe, you're cringe.
Like, okay, so here's my deal with Peter Coffin. Let me be completely honest. Peter Coffin, if you're watching this is me being honest, not me trying to make you look bad, not me trying to start drama. You did that already. Okay, so don't even come at me. I am not somebody that like sees hatred for you, okay? But I'm not a fan either. Not by a long shot. And so like ever since I've like, been aware of Peter Coffin, back before I knew anything about what they were about, I found some of their content like interesting, but it would always be kind of like with this attitude that I couldn't take, that was just grating. Just absolutely grating, right? The humor. There's like a type of humor, and I'm not sure I get it. Like to me it comes off as just like Peter Coffin isn't very funny. Like isn't very amusing, isn't very entertaining. Okay. Maybe I'm
Get to the meat and potatoes.
Really, been somebody that, like, I mean, I am aware of Peter Coffin. I am aware of their bad takes. I don't generally tweet it. Trouble, right? Okay, so anyway, chat, enough, like, fucking Irene just being like, I don't need any trouble. Let's get into, like, this shit. Let's fucking get into this shit. Oh my god. Oh my god, there's a Caleb Malpin tweet right there. Just to remind you, if you're like, what was bad about, oh my god. No, it doesn't look bad. That looks amazing. Chat, I want this kitchen. If I had money for a kitchen and could even consider not living in an efficiency for the rest of my life, I would totally, oh my god, I mean, it kind of does burn your eyes a little bit. It does burn your eyes. It, like, leaves, you can stare at it for a while, and then if you look away, you'll see the negative image in your eyes.
Okay, get to the meat and potatoes, please.
It clipped me, and Peter Coffin that saw the tanky, not just any tanky, a Haas tanky, conservative. So, that's interesting.
Haas is not really a conservative. Why do people keep saying that? Haas does not have like anything against, like, he's not a conservative. If anything, he's a social libertarian. He doesn't give a shit what anyone does with their lives or who you are. He literally doesn't care. Hello, eat my pyroclastic. Welcome to the stream.
People like Peter Coffin as being useful idiots, as being tools tangential to the NazBol Vortex itself. Like, right? It's usually kind of assumed that these people aren't actually in there swimming around. But in this case, this is who Peter Coffin is retweeting these days, right? has been.
I hate this slimy bad. Thank you for saying I'm pretty. I hate this like slimy bad faith like. Oh. As soon as you diverge from our narrative as a creator, or a content creator, you know what I mean? You're just bad. You're just a villain. So anyone who associates with you is poisoned by your presence, and they're just guilty by association. And it's all so bad. And it's like that's just another problem with this, like mainstream political thinking, where everything just gets reduced down to your own individual moral preferences and reduced into a moral binary where people are just good or bad. And that's a problem in personal life as well, by the way. That I talked about that in my early videos too.
Fans, chat, like this is scary shit, right? This is like a lot more connected. If you could only get 52 likes from 9K views, it's probably mostly hate watching Peter. No, there's no Peter in it though. It's just me. It's just me. NCC. Let's watch it. Let's watch the clip. Let's see what they got. Chat.
Okay, you don't have to mock Demon Mama just because she's a bigger, better streamer than you.
People's
What did I say?
issues, or whether they're more attuned
Did
to
they get me, chat?
economic,
Am I evil?
issues, kind of with a little bit of.
Did they catch me being evil this time?
For marginalized groups, right? That's a choice that we shouldn't have to make, okay? And we don't want to get there. That's why we're going to be doing a NazBol
It's a choice that we do not have to make.
Vortex.
If we understand the fact that those issues are intertwined.
segment. That's right, chat. It's going to be a regular thing now.
Is this person good or bad? I don't see people as good or bad. I'm critiquing the video itself, okay? I'm critiquing the video itself, alright? Whoa. Did I just get a bunch of followers? Whoa. How did I just get so many followers? What the fuck? I just got so many followers, guys. Is this real? I have 336 followers now. How did I just get so many followers? Whoa. Who are you guys? What the fuck? What the fuck? I just got so many. Thank you. Whoever just did that, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
On my stream, I'm going to start talking about this more and more because I think it's a big deal. It's something that we want to get out ahead of. It's something that we don't want to be blindsided by, the way that, you know, a lot of the left was by Trumpism when it popped up. So yeah, you know, it's something that I need to be covering.
Wait, what left was blinded by Trumpism? Who?
Anyway, sorry, I totally derailed.
Wait, where's the lie? What? Wait, was there like a bad part there? Did I miss it, chat? Did I miss it? Oh my god, what happened? I thought NCC bad. Where
If
was the
anything,
bad?
liberals were blinded by Trumpism, thinking that Trump was some kind of unique evil and not just the embodiment of all of the actual crises that we've been facing for decades. Like,
Thing. Did she say the bad thing? Where's the bad thing? What did she say that was unbased? What did she say that was incorrect? Where's the lie? Where's the lie? There's no line between marginalized people's issues and economics. Power in our world is literally based on owning capital. What do people think marginalized is?
I agree with Peter Coffin on that question. Do I like Donald Trump? No. Do I look like I do?
So, what do you think the misunderstanding here is, chat? Does it sound like Peter Coffin's trying to say that I don't see economic deprivation as a form of marginalization? Do you think that's what it is?
That's obviously not what he's saying. He's explaining to you the fact that economics is at the center of marginalization under capitalism.
It's almost like some people don't like me talking about the NazBol Vortex. That's, oh my god, like the lights go out when you say, you know, like the phone rings. Oh my god, who is it?
What? Joker from Persona 2? What are you do? How'd you get my number? God damn it. These fucking fictional characters are always calling me up, chat. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. Don't you hate it? You're in the middle of a stream and you get called up by a fictional character from a video game you haven't finished.
Do I like Biden? You think I like Biden? No, I don't like Biden either.
Finish the goddamn video game and taunting you that you will never defeat them. Never! Anyway, okay, so wait, what? That can mean different things. Like, all marginalization occurs along economic lines?
That's not what he's saying either. Or that's not what they're saying either.
There's definitely like a social aspect to marginalization that would exist even without the economic
It wouldn't though. It wouldn't though.
System being capitalistic in nature. And
the social marginalization exists to justify that economic marginalization, because that's how the mind works, folks.
And that's kind of what the deal is with Peter Coffin and people in that orbit, is that they don't seem to see this, right? They think that...
No, but we live in a world that developed a certain way. And the way that it developed, the way that history has developed, is basically white supremacist capitalism, right? And patriarchal forces, cishet hegemony, obviously. But it's all intertwined within that same global political economic order of things. We don't live in a world where, like... We don't live... Like, here's the thing. You wouldn't even be able to test to see whether or not social oppression, however that would take form in a world where there was no economic oppression, I have no idea. Because... the second you're oppressing anybody, like, what does that mean without economics? Like, you're just mean to them? Like, what? Like, what? I don't... You know, you understand what I'm saying? Like, oppressing somebody means, like, like, when a society oppresses a group of people, it means that their way of life, their standard of life in that society is lower. How is that... So how would that even work? How would social oppression without economic oppression even happen? Because it seems like the second they did it, economic oppression in some form would be immediately observable. Because otherwise, what the hell do you mean by oppression in the first place? Do you see what I'm saying? Like... you wouldn't even be able to test that because we've never seen a world where there was perfect economic equality. So how do you know? Like, that's such a naive thing to say. Prove it? You can't. It's literally impossible for you to prove that's true. Everyone here wants to restore Rhodesia. I don't know. I don't know what the story is with that one. But, alright. Whoever gave me all those followers, you guys are great. You guys are powerful. Thank you very much for coming.
That we can kind of, like, fold everybody's issues into class relations. And that's wrong. That's a fucked up ideology, and it's vulnerable.
Wait, what did she just say?
Vulnerable. There's definitely like a social aspect to marginalization that would exist even without the economic system.
Okay, we covered that's bullshit.
Capitalistic in nature.
We covered that's bullshit.
And that's kind of what the deal is with Peter Coffin and people in that orbit, is that they don't seem to see this, right? They think that we can kind of like fold everybody's issues into class relations.
But it already is that way. It's not us folding it. It's not us... Wait, what? The fuck? Folding it into class relations? Oh my god. Jesus Christ. That's not even our position. I feel like I've wasted too much time on this. Have I wasted too much time on this?
And that's wrong. That's a fucked up ideology, and it's vulnerable. That's
no one's ideology in the world. What are you talking about?
NazBol Vortex. Yes. And that's the problem that we have with that I have, that most of us have, I would assume, with Peter Coffin and Coffin Reply Crew, I guess.
Okay, then you guys are confused. You guys are severely lost in the liberal vortex. How's that sound?
Called the true believers in Coffinism. Yeah, there's a reason that I want to make a point of like talking about these issues separately from.
If you want to talk about NazBol Vortex, why don't we just talk about the neolib vortex? Like,
class issues, right?
I'm gonna make a video called the neoliberal vortex and just criticize like wash all these people.
Any kind of inequality between races, sexes, cis, trans, solidarity is a prerequisite to any meaningful opposition against the current economic system. And
obviously, how do you agree with that and then say that we're wrong when we talk about class? What is your problem with that?
See us getting to.
That's the whole point of class consciousness. That's what solidarity means. That's literally what it means, is the fact that we understand that despite those differences, we have that commonality. That's what it fucking means. That's what solidarity is, dude. That's what it is.
Solidarity to some people, for a lot of privileged people, they might think, like, listen, yeah, I know, race, gender, all that, sure, but we can kind of fold that.
My glasses are better than, yeah, I know. Aren't they? Look at them. Look at these. I love them.
In with economic issues, because it's really about the economic issues, and this is we have to have something to appeal to everyone, and the economic issues, you're suffering economic privation, I'm suffering economic privation, let's just get together along those lines, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right, and those lines only, and in their mind they
no,
feel
not those lines only, those lines and all the other ones.
Opens up to the left to
those lines and all those other ones in extension to that line, because that's the way the world is right now.
People who might not be as compassionate towards marginalized people's maybe special, the special conditions that they may be under, in which they're even more impacted economically than those without. You need a solid coalition to make any forward progress. And I don't think that you convince, people that have been at the bottom of that pile, that have felt most acutely the boot heel of the system, of the status quo. I don't think you convince them that you're here for them, because these are people, you're talking about groups that have been left behind time after time, thrown under the bus, kind of pushed to the side, right? And if you really want to convince them that you're here for them, you gotta kind of make a special, point about it. You can't sort of be like, oh yeah, we'll get to your shit along with everybody else's shit, The bus.
But there are always Marxists of all of these groups who make that elemental to their analysis as well. So we already do that. So she's talking about a problem that doesn't exist, because we already got that covered. So
usually never comes back for us. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think that there's a lot of people, if you haven't experienced that stuff, you might not appreciate that, and you might have that's the thing is we all have compassion, we all have empathy, but who do we extend that empathy to, right? The people that we need to extend the empathy to are the people with the least power. There's a tendency to want to prioritize the outreach to the right wing, or the perceived right. It reminds me of W.B. Du Bois said that the labor movement should.
Okay, we're coming into the part of the video. We're coming into the part of the video where we already covered it, so we're gonna move on soon. What's my Instagram? I don't link my Instagram on here.
But when racists in the movement tried to get higher wages by kicking out Chinese people and excluding black people, their movement fell apart. Yeah, absolutely. There was, if you look back far enough, to the early progressive and workers' movements were inclusive. There was a slogan, black.
Yeah, all right. We made it full circle. There's nothing else in this video, I bet, for me to cover, I don't think. So that's that, folks. I'm most likely, if she actually accepts it, gonna be debating her, so stay tuned. Hopefully we can come to some kind of conclusion where I mean, is it really gonna be a debate, or is it gonna be an education? You know what I mean? Like, hopefully we come to a conclusion where I've gotten my point across and she understands class analysis better. But I want to find out, did somebody raid me or something? Like, what happened to give me all these people? Like, they're not viewing, but there's so many people following. There's so many people following right now. I got so many followers at once. Like 20 minutes ago. It was amazing. Jesus Christ, guys.